what's up, everybody? It's Chef Jourdan-Cha'Taun, and you are now tuned in to Chefish. And today we have Chef Josh Swinney.
Yes.
Did I say it correct?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, because you know I like, and names are very important for me, so I don't want to mispronounce your name. But Chef Josh actually owns his own catering company, brand consulting company with his business partner, and he also is a private chef, caterer, and photographer.
Yes.
Okay, because all of these things to me are very important to who you are and how you present your work.
Mm-hmm.
So it's part of the things that I admire about Chef Josh. So I'm going to give a little intro on who you are.
Okay.
Okay. So Chef Josh is actually from Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Yes.
And he grew up kind of as an artistic kid. So you were into drawing, you were into creating. Did you have a passion for music as well?
Yes. So
Okay.
me and all my siblings played music in some capacity.
Okay.
Singing or playing the drum. I played drums and bass, and my
Okay.
brothers played keyboard, organ, drums, all that type of stuff. So.
Nice. So I'm sure that intertwines with where you are now today.
Yes, for sure.
Yes. So he was always an artistic kid, and one of his friends' dads was a chef.
Yes.
And so that kind of sparked his creativity of becoming a chef. And so at some point he moved to Charlotte
Yes.
and went to the Art Institute, the Culinary Art Institute in Charlotte,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so after that, somehow you ended up in Atlanta where you are today. And again, like I said, he owns his own branding consulting company that also caters, does big events and private chefing and photography on the side. Okay.
Yes.
But as I'll let him tell you exactly what that is and what he does, but it's ambiance. I've been to a few of his events, so I felt the vibe before. And now that you said you were into music, like it all makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm super excited to learn that detail about you. So that's a little history on Chef Josh. And so welcome to the couch.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to have you. He's actually on a little bit of a break, but in between clients. So he has somebody helping in between with the client. He got a catering. So we appreciate him making time for the couch. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
So just to give my chefies a little taste, can you tell me a little bit more about yourself?
So, I mean, what would you like to know? I guess that's...
Well, once you got to Atlanta and really started getting into your career, how long ago was that?
So I moved to Atlanta in 2016.
Okay.
I came here for work. So I was working with a big food service corporation.
Right.
They asked me to move here to actually help out with a few accounts. So I moved here, seen the city and loved it. I seen the culture. That's pretty much why I moved here, was one, because of the culture of Atlanta.
Okay.
I had some friends here, and then when I started meeting different culinarians, it just made sense. Like living in Charlotte, Black people are sort of minorities in a lot of spaces, but there, the majority was 53% white or Caucasian.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, that reflected in our industry. So a lot of opportunities were being given to those people.
Right.
And not really being reflected in what the work that we do as well. So when I came to Atlanta, I seen a big, vast difference in the amount of publicity we get or also opportunities we get here. So I want to be a part of the culture and help try to create community as much as possible. And
what company was that you're, what was the actual position that you did in Charlotte before you moved here?
So I was district support chef with Compass Group.
Okay.
So I managed.
What is that? For my chefies out there, tell them what it is that you did.
So a district support chef, you basically manage a region. So I had about 30 accounts that I was over. I trained all the managers, went in and fixed any account issues. We
balanced the books.
So it was about 80 million in revenue that we was sort of looking over and ensuring that, our clients were happy with client retention.
Okay.
Any big caterings, any new accounts we were adding, I was training, going in, opening accounts, doing onboarding, the works. So,
and for those that don't know what onboarding is, what is that?
So that's just training new staff, hiring and training new staff, pretty much, making sure they know all the policies and procedures, setting up new systems. Each account is different. So, some accounts was as small as having a staff of 10 to 20 people. Some accounts we had 150 people.
Okay.
So actually getting people accustomed to working in different teams and subsets really helped the business, function and maneuver the way it's supposed to.
And I'm sure that gave you a upper hand or a look at the inner workings of different styles of management for people that were actually in the kitchens working with the teams.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and that kind of plays into what you do now.
Right.
Because everything that ever happens is preparation for what's to come.
That's
right?
true.
So do you feel like when you were growing up with your friend's dad, do you feel like he kind of like influenced how you cook now?
He did.
Okay.
A lot. So he's actually from South Carolina.
Okay.
And he was over in like the Charleston region where he learned like really like a lot of the big restaurants that was there and popular during the 90s or even back to the 80s and 70s.
Okay.
He influenced a lot of what they did.
Okay.
So
and
he
what
was
kind
never
of food was that style?
More like Geechee Gullah.
Oh.
Or like Southern cuisine.
Real gumbo.
Real gumbo.
Original gumbo,
right?
Gumbo. The roux is the most important.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people.
And then the sausage as well.
Well, yes. You would hope that you would get it authentically from where it's from.
Yes.
But okay, so that's good to know. So now that we've give them a little taste and not giving them a starter, I want to get into the main course.
Okay.
And so you also do photography.
I do.
And so how did you start doing that, and how does that play a part in what you do now?
So I got into photography because I wanted to create content for culinarians. I knew a lot of times looking in our space, like sometimes people don't make a lot of money or have that excess amount of money to really help themselves create content that's appropriate for branding.
Right.
So that's what I really got into it for, is really just to help my colleagues and help myself.
Okay.
And then outside of that, I knew there's a way where the creatives could really create and feel safe and not have to put out a bunch of money.
Right.
But I could also get my money on the back end from like the brands or like other opportunities. So like I always look at it as planting a seed and getting my blessing back later in some aspect.
Right.
Now, I'm not stupid. I still make my money off of it.
Right.
But like I help certain people with certain things that I know they need assistance with. So.
Right. So you take a percentage kind of like, is that what you do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So let me rephrase that. No.
Okay.
I get paid straight up from the brands if we're working with the brand. If I'm working with an individual, I may do a project or two to help them, to showcase them.
Okay.
And then from there, like, I just sort of...
The deals that you help make, that you're the dot connector.
Right.
Yeah.
So outside of that, I still do other photography stuff where I charge for, my full rate for it. So.
Right.
But
with the brands, the major brands.
Individuals, brands, a lot of times I go shoot an event or shoot a restaurant, somebody will see it, and then from there they say, "Oh, I want to shoot you. Have you shoot something else for me." So it works out. Right.
So do you never formally studied photography?
No.
I
picked up a camera one day
and just
start shooting.
Okay.
I did have like some people who sort of mentored me in some aspects.
Okay, who are they?
They was videographers.
Okay.
So one of the guys' name is Terrence. Terrence Crawley. He's a videographer.
Okay.
Here in Atlanta. He's great.
Okay.
Cordarius Still.
Shout out to y'all.
Yeah. Cinevision. He's dope as well. And then from there, photography wise, there's another girl. We all went to church together, so that's how we start.
Okay.
Shooting together in aspects. So, Lala Spears, she showed me a lot as well. So outside of that, I just YouTube University. And actually just went out and shooting. So
we love it. Okay, so I love this. So you actually do make a nice amount of money in photography, on top of being a private chef. So, and caterer. So beyond that, how did you start balancing your time between the two? Like when you start working with these bigger brands and you're doing the catering, like what does that look like?
So I quit my corporate job in April of 2021.
Okay.
So
not that long ago.
No. So it allowed me a lot more time in essence to do what I want to do. And then also with my business, I got a calendar. So I just look and see what we got booked on certain dates. And then from there, I balance out the gigs with that. So now, I get a lot more bookings for photography. But at the beginning, I was really just focused on the private chef side.
Right.
Right. But I moved away from private chef and started doing caterings.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's more so us evolving as a business and a brand and really seeing where do we want to spend our time, energy, and effort, and then maneuvering around from there.
Where you want to do what? Spend your what?
Time, energy, and effort. So.
And so that's what dictates your time, energy, and effort, essentially. I love that. A lot of people don't really think about that in the bigger picture of things. They like exert a lot of time and energy and end up unhappy at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But I guess you working with the bigger brands along the way kind of like made it easier pathway to provide that for you, right?
Yes.
So do you feel comfortable talking about money? Like, can we say ballpark, like for the people that are getting into those type of industries, if you're taking pictures, this is what this looks like, or if you're working with a corporate, you know, whatever you're comfortable with. And if you're not, we can scrap it and move on.
No, we can.
Scrap it and move on? Or talk
no, we can talk about it.
Okay, cool. So when you are structuring like deals for bigger brands and corporate, when you first started out, what were those numbers looking like?
So it really was like an hour. I had to take a breath because I was thinking about it, but it's really like an hourly rate.
Okay.
That's what I would charge them. But as I'm getting smarter around it, is more so like, what's the scope of work?
Okay.
Right. So
what is scope of work for people that don't know?
So scope of work really just entails what's really needed for that project per se. Right. So they may say, I want 50 photos.
Okay.
Right. So I could go in and say, okay, I got you. What are you going to use the photos for? Like, is it going to be on billboards? Is it going to be online? Is it just for social?
Right.
Because all those equate to different dollar amounts.
Okay.
So like, how long am I going to actually be shooting? You know, it's just like making sure I got all the details needed so I can provide the proposal that's appropriate for the project.
Okay. And like baseline for somebody that wants the 50 pictures, what does that look like?
What are they using it for?
Let's say for like Bon Appetit.
Oh, that's like magazines and stuff?
Yeah.
You're going to charge 50 photos, you're going to make some money. I'm going to give you like
a low end.
Low end, if you're doing it cheap, about $5,000.
That's cheap.
Yeah.
And what's high range?
If it like magazine, were they selling it?
Yeah.
Some people charge up like 25, 30K. Like
for one.
For that 50, photos range.
Right.
So, I mean, some people charge more. It's really dependent upon like their rate per se.
Right.
So I got a friend that did a photo shoot for a brand like that.
Right.
And she made over 20K off of it.
Okay.
So, and it wasn't quite 50 photos. It's probably closer to like 25, 30. So it really depends upon what your skill set is. Like, are you going in and doing the professional retouches yourself, or do you got to have like a team to do it, or is the brand getting their team to take care of that for you?
Right.
And you just got to produce the content. Do you got to do the creative direction?
Okay.
Like all that goes into how it works for these shoots. So if it's just a photographer shooting straight up, then your rate is going to be different.
Okay.
Right. If I don't have to do no professional retouches or anything, but if you're going in and actually giving creative direction, styling everything, making sure like.
You do food styling then?
No. For my stuff, yes. But for other people, no.
Okay.
We're going to hire somebody else in to do that.
Okay.
So reason being, because that's all time. Like I want to be able to focus in on what I could do.
Right.
Right. So even when it comes to lighting, right?
Right.
They have people that come in and do the lighting sets as well.
But you're doing more. You said you're doing more photography now than you are with the catering and the private chefing, right?
No, catering I'm still doing a lot of catering.
Are you present for those, or do you send your teams out?
Most times I'm present.
Okay.
Right now I'm present. I'm trying to build the structure in which, that's why I didn't name my brand Chef Josh & Co.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
It's just like, I wanted a brand that if I wasn't there, my clients won't expect me to, you know what I mean?
More fluid.
Yeah. And I could put in another chef or like one of our team members and it's perfectly fine.
Right.
And we've done that before and clients have been perfectly fine as well. So.
Okay, so at what point did you start building the team and your company's name is Sincere Fare?
Yes.
So at what point did you start building that team?
So really, when I worked in corporate, a lot of people that I worked with, they said, hey, when you leave, we still want to work with you in some aspect. I said, okay, cool. So I guess I've been building a team since I got here in 2016.
Okay.
But when I left, I just started calling people and say, yo, like I got this opportunity. You want to work? Yeah. And then from there, they just kept calling me, hey, you got anything else? Or I had to go ahead and send out texts and messages and just inform them what we got going on for the next few weeks or the month or whatever. So our team, I don't have anybody on like a full-time salary yet.
No.
But we present like, good working opportunities for people to make good money on the side.
And so how many people do you have on your team now?
As far as cooks, probably around about 10 people.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah, no, that's nice.
So we sort of rotate them in and out. Like we have a consistent client every weekend.
Right.
So we take care of them, and our team comes in and knock out that, or for any other events. It really just depends on what we're doing.
Right.
So like if, with building any type of team, certain people can do certain things great.
Yeah.
You play off the strengths and weaknesses.
Yes. So certain people like aren't good at prep.
Right.
And so prep is the key to getting the job done. It's all the work that gets done before the people see you on site at the job. So a prep person is not the person you want during the event on the line, the forward-facing chef. Some people aren't that hospitable.
Right.
So they need to stay in the kitchen and not be forward-facing with the chef. You know what I'm saying? So I totally understand that. And so your business partner is actually a mixologist, right? And so... And sommelier. And beekeeper and pilot. Yeah. What up, Rob? What up, Rob? We trying to get you on the couch, player.
Yeah.
It's hard to lock him down. But how did that relationship come about?
So before I got here in 2016, I was doing some nonprofit work with somebody else, right?
Okay.
So Rob actually met him through us doing that nonprofit work.
Okay.
So when I got here, we was doing another business. Me and Rob was in another business venture together with another group of fellas. It was a tech startup.
Oh, okay.
And we all, he had a housewarming or whatever, and we went over his house. And I seen his house, and when I was there, he was like, if you ever want to do a dinner or something here, let me know. I said, matter of fact, I'm trying to do one in 2 months. What's up?
What's up?
So he was like, all right. And I started planning, coordinating with them. And then he was like, well, I can do drinks. I said, I didn't know you did drinks, bro. And he was like, yeah, I can do the drinks. So we went from clearing out his like living room, because his living room and kitchen is sort of like an open space.
Okay, nice.
So we cleared out the living room. I removed all the stuff. And I said, okay, we're just going to put a table for 12 right here. That was the initial goal.
Oh, that's a nice size table, too.
Yeah, when we got done, it was 40 people in this crib.
Oh.
Yeah. So we rocked out. That was our very first event. It was called Southern Holiday Experience. And it was dope. People always ask us when we doing the next one. We had a live violinist there. We had live painting going on. And it was so intimate. We had the lights like dimmed.
Yeah.
And then the string lights going across the ceiling and everything. So
their setups are pretty moody.
It made it feel like a vibe.
Yeah.
And then so we started out beginning of the night listening to Christmas music and stuff, because it happens in like November, December.
Right.
So it's that holiday time of year per se. And people loved it.
People want to get dressed up around that time and be around people their age, not necessarily family forward and focused, more with their friends. But so I've been to the Sincere Affair events, and I feel like there was music at the one that I went to with the drinks, not necessarily violent, but there was music involved. It was moodier lighting, and that was at the Schiller Institute.
Yes.
And so what is the Schiller Institute, and why is that partnership so important to you?
So the Schiller Institute is
for those that don't know.
Yeah, the Schiller Institute is a Black-owned culinary school. They're starting up now, and they're about to get like really ramped up with their projects and everything. But Chef Schiller is one of the first or few Black master chefs that's within America per se.
Okay. Yeah.
And he just pretty much like mentors and trains a lot of up and coming culinary talent. So it's an opportunity for like a lot, not just minorities, but a lot of other
Black and brown
diverse people.
Yeah.
To come in and a lot of the other people to come in and actually just have a space in which they can learn from somebody that's really going to care about you, and also not really
that looks like you. Yeah,
looks like you. It's going to give you opportunities, but also not have the financial constraints of going to one of these larger private schools as well.
So how often do you do events at the Schiller Institute?
So I don't do them often.
Okay.
But we have something that we're working on for like long-term partnership.
But I feel like it's been like once a year-ish.
We do. All right. So we do at least once a year. Then I also help him out with events as well.
Right.
So wherever they need support, like I'm able to go in and help them.
Right.
We just have a good partnership. And then we also did something at his other space. So Chef Schiller, the Schiller Institute, is at Farm Kitchen and Bar in Tucker. And then they also have a partnership with Microsoft downtown. So they have a restaurant space there. So we did our and had a Southern Holiday Experience. Made with Love and Soul is another concept we have. I had to think through the events. Okay. So Made with Love and Soul, We did that at Microsoft this past time, and that was in November.
Okay.
Of last year. So we did it twice. The first one was at the Epicurean. The second one's at Microsoft. And like, you've been to events before. This one isn't seated.
Right.
Like the one you came to. This one is more
networking mixer.
Networking mixer.
We love it.
We set up chef stations with mixologist pairs at each station. And there's different chefs from throughout the city and then different mixologists. And we all just sort of create a loving, soulful experience for people to come and just really connect.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And so do you feel like you also did, when you were growing up, you did mom and pop, fine dining, the catering. Do you feel like now when you're doing your own events, do you feel like you're still trying to do fine dining mixed in with more relaxed looks when it's not networking?
We try to play it in different aspects to give different feels. Because our client base, or even the people who support us, is a diverse crowd.
So they have their own vision when they come to you.
Yeah. So
okay.
When we host our own experiences,
yes,
then we try to diversify, to give people something different to look forward to.
Right.
So Made with Love and Soul is more like networking, so you get to taste different aspects from other chefs from around the city.
Nice.
But then like some of our other events, like Southern Holiday, is something that I'm probably going to be doing more so going forward, so you can see like the sincere fair side. Because that's how we originally started.
Right.
And we brought in other support, but now it's like, let's go back to where we started, and really see how that works and functions. And it gives our crowds different, excitement for different experiences. Because if it's always the same, they're like, oh, everything's networking. Mm-hmm. But they know now they could come and get some different types of food, and like they can sit at different tables and meet people and like just be intimate and intentional. I think that's important as well. So
do you feel like you go out and get contracts, or the contracts kind of come to you?
For my caterings?
Yes.
They come to us.
Okay.
I probably need to do a better job of doing more outbound, but to be honest with you, like...
But not if you stay busy.
We stay pretty...
Word of mouth is doing it.
We stay consistent. We get a lot of referrals from clients and a lot of repeat clients. So
you have retention.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you worked already at it, so you kind of understand the math.
Yes.
Right. And so beyond that, do you intertwine your photography with the events that you actually do, or do you kind of keep those separate because you don't have the time?
It's sort of hard to work the event and do the photography aspect. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I try to, but it's just hard.
It's hard to balance.
Because even if I'm not like working in the kitchen, then I'm still sort of like managing different aspects.
Right.
And it's not even me actually going out and say, hey, servers go here, da-da-da-da, but it's people want to talk to you because it's your brand.
Shaking hands and kissing babies.
Yeah. So it's hard to hold a camera and be talking to people because you'll miss moments.
Right. I totally understand that. And so... can you talk a little bit more about your focuses of when you create budgets for brands, when you're basically approaching them versus them coming to you? Like, what are some components that go into that? Give me 3 key things. Got you.
So when I actually go to a brand and ask them for any type of like financial compensation, one, I want to see what's their vision for what they have going on. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, we can have an idea of an event, but it's more so like, does it align?
Right.
Is there any type of brand alignment? So if there's brand alignment, then they'll, more freely give versus if it's a project you asking for a favor on. Mm. Right. So that's one thing I always start with alignment. Also,
alignment is key, y'all.
Yeah. It's super key.
Okay.
Major plug.
Major key.
Yeah. So I have to say brand alignment, and then also I let them know our needs, man. Like,
in order to get this done, this is what we need.
This is how much it costs. Straight up. So outside, I don't want to live off just ticket sales. Like, how else can we make money?
Right.
So this is what I need. I need you to take care of this, that, and the third. I mean, anytime you host an event, the most highest, I guess, cost is going to be like the space.
Right.
Outside of space, then it's going to be your food and beverage and staff, your labor. Right. So for me, if I could get them to take care of those aspects, that helps out a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. And then product. I need to give my guests something to go.
Right.
I need to have product there to showcase like this is a brand partnership. But one thing I learned a lot within all of that is to make sure you don't get lost.
Okay.
because those brands will come in and bring their big, backdrops and all this other stuff. And then people think it's I don't want to name a brand. I'm just say Target. It's a Target event.
Right.
Because I don't
not your event.
Right.
Right.
Versus it's Sincere Fair event.
Right. Let's make sure your signature is bigger and theirs is smaller towards the somewhere else.
Yeah.
I told you, so stand true with your own voice and your brand. Mm-hmm. Don't get rolled over by the big guys.
Yeah.
When the big guys come in.
And they don't mind doing it.
It's a collaboration. And so was there ever a time where you felt like you weren't properly compensated? And if so, like, what did that look like? Yes.
I think over time we learned to ensure that we're taken care of within business in general. So really for me, I always looked at it from the aspect of like, how much work am I doing in comparison to how much pay we're receiving?
Right.
So what I've done is really sort of set some boundaries within that, to really
for yourself,
for myself.
Key.
Yeah.
Because it's not always setting boundaries for other people. I always say we have to teach our clients how to treat us, but we also have to set clear boundaries for ourselves. Because if we're overworked and underpaid, we obviously agree to that.
Right.
Right. So, yeah.
Because for me, I'm not an emotional person, but I really enjoy like creating relationships.
Yes.
Because I understand relationship is something that's going to keep us long term in business.
It is.
So it's almost how they say like the golf course is a place where a lot of business is done. It's because you're building relationships there. It ain't necessarily because you're just playing golf with somebody, but it's the golf that presents the opportunity for that relationship to be built. And what you say, okay, hey, yeah, I'll rock with you on this project. Or, hey, I could give $1 million to this or whatever. So
you're saying I need to golf? I'm
learning. I'm actually starting.
Let me find out. I need to get up cut. Let me go out here and see what's going on with these greens out here, brothers. So
with that being said, I think to answer your question, what I did is I have a business manager in place.
Okay.
So you're not going to really talk to me that much. A lot of clients come to me to talk. I say, hey, let's take it back to my business manager. And then from there, we negotiate. So.
You talk to me, though. Thank you.
I talk to you. Yeah. Outside of the people I don't know,
right.
I set up boundaries because at the end of the day, I'm not trying to get screwed over.
Right.
And as soon as I hear it naturally, I'm going to say no. And that's my business manager. Like, she starts to negotiate.
Right.
On my behalf. So you just learn. Like, if I felt a few times I wasn't properly compensated.
Right.
And there's nothing you can do after you agree to doing it.
Right.
Right. And then also you learn to put that stuff in your contract.
In the contract.
So it's like, hey, if your catering starts at 4:00, then you call me and say, Josh, I want to do a catering at 4:00.
Right.
But you really not starting at 6.
Right.
Oh, we got a problem because I got to pay the staff an additional 2 or 3 hours after that. So it's like, let's ensure all that's within the contract. Like, what's the start time of the actual event or the dinner service? Because that's what time we're going to have the stuff prepped for. And then also, like, what time can we arrive? Like, it's just different variables that I think need to be, like, included in writing.
Right. Well, I always say when I'm, like, doing my contracts, even for private chefing, like, if I'm traveling, it needs to be first class. I need a 4 to 5 star hotel. It needs to be 5 minutes away, or it needs to be an luxury Airbnb with a driver. I need $100 a day per diem. If you don't ask for those things, nobody's going to give it to you. So, and when you're talking about catering budgets, it's driving, it's the prep time. How many people do you need to hire to prep? All of that goes into play. And then, so basically, his whole thing was setting a clear boundary to include, if you go over this time, if it doesn't start on time, we now incur other costs and added fees.
Something I learned as well is for the exit of the event, sometimes they find spaces where the kitchen is tucked in the back. And then once the event starts, there's no way, like a back door or anything to get out of.
Right.
And I got stuck at an event before like that as well. So we might have got done with dinner around like 9. The event didn't end until 12.
Oh, no.
So now the staff is sitting there. We can't pull the carts and stuff through because you got chairs and tables and all this other stuff.
So your exit route is really important.
Making sure you actually map out the venue so you can see what's exactly going on.
Yeah.
And ensure that you have your best interests going first.
And the staff's exit. Because somebody got to pay the staff that got to stay.
Yep.
Right? Okay, so that's where you feel like you were not compensated properly. You basically had to learn. Sometimes you got to learn. Yeah. And a lot of times we learn the hard way because nobody's out here necessarily teaching us, especially in the entrepreneur space.
Yeah.
Right? For your recipe for success, tell me 3 things that you would want someone getting into the business to know or 3 things that you would tell your younger self?
I like that question. 3 things. So the first for me is always start with the craft.
Okay.
Right? Like if I was to go back, not even go back and tell my younger self, somebody who's coming into the game, because I feel like I did a good job of that, is really take time to learn, take time. You're not going to make money when you first start out heavily, but really learn the craft, make sure you're bringing value to your clientele through your craft. Like, just don't go out and Alfredo everything. Don't go out and you get what I'm saying? Like, do the same dishes all the time. Have some creative expansion, read, go out and study, go travel, work with chefs. Shoot, I used to work for free. Just go and stage at places just to learn.
Yeah. And what's a stage?
A stage is where you go work at a restaurant for free.
Okay.
Or it don't even have to be a restaurant. It could be any type of food space, right? But you basically go work for free and you just learn.
Food truck?
Yep.
Somewhere.
A private chef, anybody.
Sommelier.
Yeah.
Mixologist. Go be a bartender.
Yeah.
Go get your bartender license.
And that could create a level of relationship, right? But also mentorship as well, because now if you go, people come to me and they say, oh, I want to work with you, but then you want a paycheck behind it. And I don't mind, but your skill set is going to have to align with what I need as far as business needs.
Right.
Versus I'm bringing you in and you just
automatically at what I'm making.
Right. It's no, bro. You're going to have to learn.
You got to, first of all, show me.
Right.
So I can see exactly where you're at. And then you have to be willing to learn. Mm-hmm. So that's your 2. Is that your 2?
So, yep. Learn. The last thing would probably be understand the business side of it. Get very smart on making sure. One thing we do is from the legal side, contracts. We got an entertainment lawyer, a lawyer to really review everything, make sure we're up and up. Yeah. And then also the aspect of accounting. So my business partner, he has, he works in accounting and finance. So he has.
What doesn't Rob do?
He does a little bit of everything. I ain't gonna say everything, dude, but he does a little bit of everything.
Okay.
So with that, I understand accounting to a certain degree because I worked in corporate for so long. Mm-hmm. But on the stuff I may not be as strong in, he understands. So we got systems in place where we got different levels of accountability. So even though he's over finance, we still have an accountant that works with us. We also have a tax accountant. Okay. So it's a couple of layers to make sure nobody's missing anything. So getting really smart on the business end is going to help you long term. Because I'm looking to win now, but I'm really looking to win 10 to 15 years from now. Right. So it's setting yourself up for success in the future so that way you have an exit plan as well.
I was going to say that. Do you feel that having an exit strategy is important? I always tell younger chefs and food professionals that come to me for advice, I tell them, create the exit plan. Mm-hmm. And also create a plan once you attain the success you want, how you'll retain it. Yeah. Because a lot of people plan for the getting there, but they don't plan how to stay there. Yeah. So it kind of there's those missing, and then also the exit, because you don't want to be doing it 30, 40, 50 years because it's easy to go by. I'm 20 years in already. How many years in are you?
About 15.
See? Yeah. It just be flying by. Yeah. That exit strategy is importante, y'all.
It is.
And so for our palate cleanser, after a long day of cooking, so you're on the job, you get a catering. When you get home, what are you eating? What are you making yourself? What's going on?
It's almost embarrassing.
No, it's okay.
It's almost embarrassing. No, I don't eat. It don't matter what we cook at an event or anything. If I'm around it all day, I never eat it. Yeah. So when I get home, I eat a sandwich.
I'm a sandwich and cereal.
Yeah, girl. I was about to say that's why I said it's almost embarrassing because I'm not cooking no more for the day. No, I don't want to get in there and make no raviolis or.
I don't want to touch the kitchen. Period. No. I don't want to clean a plate. Really, that sandwich is going on a napkin. Mm-hmm. Okay. Sometimes I do put it on a real plate. Just not the dishwasher. Whatever. The little ones though. I don't want a big plate. I'm really I don't want no extra mess. So okay.
And it's not a super fancy sandwich.
No, simple for me. Yeah. Some bread. A little bit of mayonnaise. Well, I kind of like a little bit more mayonnaise. And whatever the meat is, and fresh cheese. Sometimes it's just the meat and the mayo on the bread, and I'm satisfied.
I like a little Dijon on mine. Just a little bit. Okay. Just a little bit.
A little extra sauce. Yeah. I'm saying we like that spice. What's the spice? And then when you are cooking in the kitchen, what are you usually listening to?
It depends. So I love music, so it's a range.
Okay.
We might listen to some Tito Puente, or
okay.
we might be listening to music Soul Child, or we may be listening to like gospel music, or like sometimes country. Like,
okay.
What I used to do with my staff when I worked in corporate, or just when our team gets together even now, we play different music based upon like the culture of food that we're cooking.
Okay.
So
the vibe.
It creates a vibe. It creates like sort of like a mental like fun aspect, and
especially in the zone too. You feel like you're really there in the space because as we're artists in our own right, and so I always feel like music kind of weaves into the fabric of us cooking. Sometimes it's silence. That's usually when it's not a team. For me, I can do it in silence. But when there's other people, I like a certain vibe in the kitchen. So music and what we eat at the end of the day is like my palate cleanser. I always wonder because chefs don't always have the best diet is usually my thing. And it's not what people think we would want to eat. It's like, no, I want the most simplest thing. I want to be in and out. Okay. In and out. I ain't even really trying to touch the kitchen.
That's true.
So for our dessert, can you talk to me about ways that you've set the bar for people of color in food now? What do you...
So for me, I think one thing that I've done is when I worked in corporate, I noticed there was nobody that looked like me. I was one of the youngest district support managers in general.
Okay.
When I moved to Georgia, it's a good old boy system down here. So a lot of them didn't like me because I was very educated and I knew what I was talking about.
Oh, were you well-spoken?
Well-spoken. Yeah, I was actually told that.
You're so well-spoken.
Well-spoken.
What does that mean?
And then I also, like, if I know something is wrong or I don't agree with it, I'm not going to back down to a certain degree.
And people kind of probably underestimate that because you're so calm-mannered and mild-mannered.
Yeah.
So.
And then when that happens, like, sometimes it's just ego,
Right.
So for me, I've learned how to, like, navigate those situations.
Kind of like racism within the industry.
It is.
Yeah.
And you can see it. Like, so.
Clearly, if you're the only one.
The last company I worked for, I was the only Black executive chef. And this is a big, like, corporate client that we're working up under contract up under.
Right.
And I was the only Black executive chef in Americas. Not just North America, but South America as well. Outside of that, there was probably, I think, 3 Hispanic chefs, and the rest of them were white.
Wow. How many women?
Maybe out of like 80 chefs, it may have been 15. So when I left, I hired a Black executive chef that was a woman as well. So it wasn't that I didn't, was just going for that. But when I seen her and I seen her skill set, I was like, oh yeah, she gotta be able to come over and take this role. So
that's dope because giving women opportunities is actually really super important.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
And all my sous chefs were mainly women. Almost every account I was at.
I love it.
Or if I had a male sous chef, then I hired a female because I feel like women bring a different energy.
Yeah.
They bring a different passion,
a different level of care,
a different level of attention to detail.
Yeah. Because nurturing, it's a different aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even how they deal with the staff and the team and everything. So I feel like you always need a good balance within any other team.
Right.
Yeah.
Women do actually belong in the kitchen, guys.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
In the major way.
For
a major way. So, for our dessert, right? I'm trying to refocus.
Okay.
So Sincere Fare is the company that you own. Can you tell me exactly what that is and what you provide?
Mm-hmm. So I laugh because we're going through like a whole sort of like rebranding thing now. Right?
Okay. So where are you now? If you're coming to me now, this is what I'm giving you.
Yeah. So if you're coming to us now, we're mainly focusing on 3 things, right? So 1, we do consulting.
Okay.
Right. So that's how we got the clients every weekend. Mainly we went in as a consultant. Then from there, we seen the need for our food expertise in their spaces. So we actually just, position ourselves to be going in. Right. Then 2, we have products that we're about to start pushing. So Rob, the beekeeper.
Yeah. The beekeeper,
yes.
Pilot, mixologist, sommelier, accountant. Yes.
So we're going to start pushing honey. And then those honey experiences, we have some booze block boards and like some home products that people will be able to use as well.
Are you guys going to do kind of like workshops where they'll make it?
Well, they make the what?
Make some of the stuffs, or is
Yes.
it just fully product?
Oh, so even we have like cocktail kits as well.
Yes,
So-
I know you guys sent me with the cocktail. That was one of the party gifts at one of the events. I want to say I might have been at a few now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so products and what else?
And then the last thing we do is just our services. So like our catering and everything, so at first we didn't want to do the events and catering side.
Right.
But then people just it was a demand for it.
Right.
So when I started seeing the demand for it, I said, okay.
Feel the need.
Let's position ourselves to make it make sense.
Yeah, where we can feel the need. Okay. So, and for our outro, tell me what's next for you.
Are you thinking this year or just long term?
You can tell me 2023 and then where you see yourself, but what's the bigger picture?
Okay. So 2023, we're just going to continue to sort of grow our brand presence per se.
Okay.
You'll see us doing more pop-ups throughout the year, more things that's going to keep drawing on that communal aspect or community aspect within the industry.
Okay. And, with other chefs.
With other chefs, mixologists.
Yes.
Anybody who works within the
Chef-ish.
Yeah.
They're going to be putting chef-ish stuff together.
Yeah, for sure. Uh-huh. So I'm even I stopped doing pop-ups or anything like that for a minute, but I'm going to do a few pop-ups this year.
Okay.
Just to allow people to be able to touch different people in different aspects.
Right.
Everybody can't afford our dinners that's like $150 up.
Uh-huh.
So maybe somebody can afford this at $15, $20 for a sandwich or whatever. So we want to just be able to touch people in different aspects.
I love it.
And then 2024.
Yeah.
We're looking a little bit bigger. We're looking at spaces.
Okay.
So our plan isn't to own a restaurant or anything like that. Think more event space and some
incubator.
Other aspects. Yes.
We love an incubator.
So
we love an incubator. So do you guys have any aspirations of TV?
No.
Not with it.
I had some opportunities to be on TV. I've been on TV.
Okay.
But that's not me.
It's not the vibe.
Yeah.
I can feel it. It ain't for everybody.
Everybody, I'm not like I can't fake it. And that's the biggest thing. I can't fake
it.
So I don't know. I ain't saying you can. I'm just saying.
I can't fake it either. No, I'm just saying. And so tell my chefies where they can find you.
So you can find me on Instagram at Creating with Josh. Any other social aspects is pretty much Josh or Joshua Swinney per se. And then for my brand or my business, you can find us at sincere.fair on IG and social channels.
Okay.
And then our website is sincerefair.co. So sincerefair.co.
All right. Well, that's it, chefies. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for joining me on the brown couch.
Thank you for
I
having
appreciate your time. And that's a wrap.